Shalom, shalom. Here we go again. Here we go. Welcome to Mother Africa Be Calling. It's your brother, Bessel Yehudi Israel, also known as Eric. Hit that like button, share, subscribe, share the video, and also share the channel. Help me to grow this channel. Also, I love when you comment, talk to me, tell me how you feel about this post. So anyway, what you're seeing right here is Jordan, Henning, and Ashley. Henning, not Jennings, but it's Henning. Anyway, they're a couple. They were married, have 7 children. Both were in the military. The lady on the right was Ashley, African American. She was having a birthday. She had just celebrated her birthday, and she and her husband right here on the left, Jordan, got into an argument, and unfortunately, Jordan went and got a gun and he unloaded it in her. I will show you the video where he stood over top of her and shot her. As a result, she's no longer in the land of the living. You can hear her even down moaning in the video after he shot her, and then he went and got more ammunition. It seemed like he put another bullet in her. So this is just why I say Mother Africa Be Calling. This is the perfect example of why I say Mother Africa Be Calling, because this dude only got manslaughter, and this was done on camera. He was not physically threatened, no violence. She didn't have a weapon. She didn't come at him even with her fist, nothing, right? And she was a woman. And all he got was first-degree manslaughter, which he could only get at a max 20 years. This is a death penalty case. This was first-degree murder plus premeditated. He went and got a gun and shot her after having an argument, then went back and reloaded. Heartless, ruthless, actually no humanity. He did that as if she was no more than a bug that you just step on and just a pest, like a fly, just taking a fly swatter and killing him and think nothing of it. And that's all he got. The jury had one black person on it. You can Google this. And then they removed that black person just before they came to the verdict, the conclusion of the case and give a verdict. They removed the one black person. So anyway, I'm going to show you the video and then I'm going to come back.
There's no doubt that that's devastating video, right? And you're looking at the defendant there, very emotional. Again, a big win for the defense. But Wendy, one of the biggest issues I thought was where he shoots her. Then he goes back and reloads the gun and comes back. Now, he's making some grunting noises that you could suggest maybe there's some weird going on in his brain. But I thought...
Okay, I'm back. Wow. That right there was one of the worst things that I have seen. This one right here, I thought Sonia Massey was probably worse than this one, but this one right here, for some reason, it even gets to me even more. This one right here, it just touches my heart. How this man stood over top of this woman. This probably what made it worse because Sonya Massey, hers was quick. One shot or something like this. Dude stood over top of this woman and unloaded in her. And I could hear her saying, ow, ow. And I could also hear her moaning when he walked away from her and reloaded. Listen, this is the video right here. I can't live in America no more. I can't do it. This one right here, this one is it. My mind needs relief. My mind needs to know that I'm away from this madness. Let me tell you this. People would say, Bezalel or Eric, how can you make this a racial issue? It may not have been racial. It's a domestic issue, domestic violence. I'm going to tell you right here, I'm going to get to it. This is how it becomes racial for me. Not just because he's a white man and she's a black woman. That is an ingredient, but here's when it becomes racial. Here on camera, you have a man standing over top of a woman, shooting her until she is subtracted from the land of the living. She's no longer alive because of it. You have it on tape. A first-degree murder you have on tape for all eyes to see. This man goes to court and on something that we see with our eyes, a first-degree murder, premeditated even. Because there was more video where you see him whip the gun and going and reloading and all that stuff. So here's the thing right here. It becomes racial when the jury take what is obviously a premeditated first-degree murder and gives this man a guilty verdict of manslaughter, first-degree manslaughter, which he can get no more than a 20-year sentence. That's when it becomes racial. Why? Because he is a white man, and this is a white man's heaven, this America. And she is a black woman, aka African American woman, a Hebrew Israelite, one of the true children of Israel, most likely, unless her parents were immigrants that came here from Africa or something. Otherwise, if her grandparents were of the transatlantic slave trade, she's a Hebrew Israelite. Anyway, this right here is normal in this country. We just so used to it, right? It was normal to have people in bondage and chains that have kidnapped a whole nation of a people and brutalize them and make them live with you and work for free and rape them, abuse them, mutilate them, and do all this. And it was a normal thing. And then after they are free from the physical bondage, you then terrorize them with lynchings and all kinds of things, burning up their homes and burning up their businesses, and just still continue to rape, falsely accused, falsely imprisoned. I mean, just even when they went out and marched and begged you peacefully not to continue in your actions against them, our people, you use law enforcement, the law, to beat them with billy clubs, pepper spray them, hose them down, sick dogs on them, people who were nonviolent and just holding up signs, begging just for equality. And this was the government backing this. This was police officers. That's a form of government. You sent out military people against them, right? So the courts, the legislature, the presidency, all are ran by a people that have a history of hatred towards us as Black people, African Americans, aka Hebrew Israelites. So we're in a no-win situation, okay? And so then when the regular public, right, do crimes against us, they do not. This I'm talking about when you have a white man or white people do crimes against Black people, no matter how bad these crimes are, how egregious they are, they will not face, more often than not, they will not face the consequences to the level of the violence that they did towards a Black person. Their consequence will always be either none or much less than they would than what they are supposed to get according to the law. So if they, like this man did, it was a premeditated first degree murder, which in most states would the if you found guilty, it would be the death penalty would be the results. If you're found guilty, then your sentence would be the death penalty and what he did. Okay, in most states, that's what the law will be. But here is the problem. Here's the kicker in this case. The victim was a Black woman, a Black person, and what the perpetrator or the assailant was a white man. So now that penalty changes. It changes. Why? Because a Black person in this country, life has no value. And these people know it. So if they hate you in their heart, and they hate you in their heart, they already know that they can do things to you and most likely get away with it. So by him getting this sentence that he got after doing something like this on camera, it encourages others to do the same, right? Because at the end of the day, it's not a crime deterrent because people do things, right? But they also won't do things. They do things because they think that they can get away with it, but they also don't do things because they know that if they do them, there's a consequence that they will not get away with. So now think about this. Think about this. You know why black people do not retaliate? Because they know the consequence, right? So we Black people know that the whole U.S. military and police force will come down on them if they retaliate and do something to this man for what he did to this Black woman, right? Because justice was not served. So therefore, if a Black person in her family or whatever find a way to get a hold of him and then put him away, they don't want to do it. Why? Because they know that the whole arm of this government will come down on them with the most heavy penalty, like death or life without the possibility of parole, and a hard prison where you would prefer to die. While on the other hand, they know that, hey, I can retaliate or I can do what I want because I know that I'm going to get pampered. Okay, he went to court and sit up there and he made himself into a victim on the stand and try to make himself crying. You can go look at the tape, Google this, and try to make himself the victim and breaking his mug down crying when they start showing the video of him doing what he did to this woman. He was abused by her. Come on, man. That's a crock of crap. Ain't no white man gonna let no black woman abuse him. They ain't even gonna let more often than let their own white women abuse them. This is their country. Ain't no way he sit there and let this black woman abuse him. And even if she was, you gotta follow the law. You call the police if she did something to you, and then get a restraining order and do all. You can't just take the law into your own hands. That's what it's taught to us. But this jury sympathize with their own. They say I saw some other videos where this woman's friend, who is a Caucasian woman, said that the justice was not served because the one person that was on the jury that was black, they removed that person before they came to the decision, the verdict, the decision of the verdict. They removed the one black person, right? So anyway, this right here is, yeah, we want to take care of our own. And they felt sorry for him. So it's like, okay, jury see this and they said, look what this black woman did, made this man mess his life up by he had to then shoot her. And by him shooting her, now look what happens to him. His life is messed up. They made him the victim and made her the villain. Because she caused her own self by troubling this man, caused her own death by troubling this man. And it's her fault for what he got to go through now because he had to take her out. This black woman messed this man's life up by him having to shoot her. Okay? Poor white man. Now he's going to have to do some time. We hate to give him some time. We don't really want to do that, but it was on tape. And, we got to do something, but we definitely not going to give him the murder. We cannot do that because it's not, he lost it because of this terrible black woman. This is the mindset. This is what they do. They hold their own, not accountable for what they do to us. So, and he said something. I looked at him on the stand as he testified, and he says, he's crying and like fake crying, whimpering, and all he could remember is he like blanked out. He said something to the effect he just blanked out basically because of the stress that she put him through. He blanked out, and all he can remember is just standing over top of her. He don't remember anything but just standing over top of her, shooting her. It's like he just went into a blank, and next thing you know, he's just shooting her. Okay. All right, so this is what he says. So like, he's just, his victim. I just blanked out. Okay. So, but you can see him on the tape going and reloading. And so he was able to do all that without, he blanked out, but he then walked away and reloaded and came back. And I believe he shot her again. But anyway, but here's the thing: you blanked out, but when the law enforcement authorities got there, you let them take you though. So if you're so blanked out and upset that you don't know what you're doing, how come you went with them? You let them put you in handcuffs and take you away. So she could not have done anything to that level that should make you could make you that angry. Meaning, like, if law enforcement is going to put you in handcuffs and take your freedom away, should that make you more angry than an argument with her? She's not taking your freedom away. She's not putting you in handcuffs, right? She's not pointing guns at you or anything like that if that did happen. She's just verbally going back and forth with you in an argument. And it sounds like in the argument that he was the main one that was yelling and arguing. He was the main one, like, seemed like you could tell that it seemed like she was scared of him, and he was just throwing out, words of, of strength, of like dominance. So what could this woman do with a man anyway? But I'm just saying, physically, normally a woman can't do nothing with no man. So how abused are you? So if she's not using a weapon against you, come on, I mean, you can get away from it. So, but law enforcement authorities, you knew not to challenge them, right? So it was nothing wrong with you. No, you know that there's consequences. See, you can take her out because you feel as though there's no consequence, right? There's no deterrent because there's no consequences, or the consequences won't meet what you did, the level of what you did. So you okay with just taking care of her and taking her out. But when they came to take your freedom away and put them handcuffs on you, you didn't go to take them out, because even though that's far worse than what she did by arguing with you, she used just words against you. They put their hands on you and handcuffed you and took you away from your house, came in your house and took you away. Okay, so and put you in a cell, in a cage. Right? Oh, you did not get down with them. You didn't go to business with them. You didn't blank out and just start shooting them. Why? Because you know it's a consequence. See, that's what I'm saying. It's a deterrent, because you know the consequence. You know that they were not going to let you get away with you. He knew the depth. If he pulled that gun out and dealt with the law enforcement when they got there, even though he is one of theirs, they still would have took him out, because he's going up against them now. All right. So those officers, the white officers that got there, they will treat him fine as long as he don't threaten their lives. Taking out her, a black woman, that means nothing to them. But if he had drawn his gun on them, they would have took him out. Okay, he knew that. That's why he didn't do it. He didn't blank out on them. So all that he blanked out, that's hogwash. That's hogwash. That's a bunch of crap. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna say this. Right, this one right here really gets to me. So I can't live in this country no more after seeing this one. I cannot do it. This is why I say Mother Africa be calling. I'm telling our people. You know, you can go into the motherland and find where you can get land, but do your research, and the best place for you and your family. If you got a pension or Social Security, or you are able to work remotely, you have income, because you can't go over there getting jobs, but you have to make, and that's good for us. We need to start making our own way, right? Make an income or use your Social Security. It's a lot of us who are older and seniors that got Social Security coming in. We got pensions. You know what you do? Look out for the next generation. Look into this. Go get land, get some farmland, build a house on it. Bring your family over. Y'all work the land, start businesses. And build communities like that, right? To get us away from this. Get us away from this, because it is never going to end, right? And everybody cannot go into Africa. I know, because, financially people just don't have it. But I'm talking about the ones who do, the ones who are in a position, who are getting Social Security, or getting, a pension, and, where you have a continuous flow of income. The cost of living is going to be lower, so you can do this. And here's the thing. If you buy the land, like, and let's use Ghana for an example. You buy the land, you own the land. You're not going to keep paying taxes on it every year. You just own the land, right? And so now you get there, you get yourself what they call a borehole. It's just a well. Dig a well, you got your water. Even if you get solar panels, you have your electricity. So pretty much you got your house built and it's paid for. Because over there, the house, it's going to be cheaper to build a house over there. You could, like, a lot of us have homes here that have equity in it. We could sell our home, go over there and build a nice home for maybe just a tenth of what it costs to build a home here. And then uh, it's paid off. You can use the money that you got over here to pay it off. And now you don't have to pay any taxes. The house is paid for. You got flowing water that's coming from the earth, like it should be anyway, from a well. and then you have solar coming in, you most likely won't need heat because in most areas it's not going to get cold. Okay, and you bring your family over so your children, your grandchildren are not subject to this kind of violence against them, right? Or this type of lifestyle that you have to live in fear. So, and that's a way to equalize. Go to safety, go to a high ground, like the word says, flee into the mountains. The mountains meaning go to a high ground. Don't bring yourself to the level of this wickedness, this hatred, this evil, marching and begging people to stop abusing you, stop hurting you, stop putting you in jail unjustly, stop doing all these things to you begging. We already been through that. Okay. After during the civil rights movement, they begged, we went out there and begged the government to protect us, the same government that showed that they hate us. What did they do? They sick dogs on our people, bust them in the head with billy clubs and bricks, spit on them, hose them down the street with powerful hoses, and it was all televised, okay? And this, through smoke bombs and buses and gas bombs, all you name it, they did it, okay? Snatched them up and put them in jail for just walking down the street marching. And it still has not changed. Okay. So why do you beg people to stop abusing you? That is stupid. Here's the strategy. Gradually roll out. Okay. It's just like our our ancestors, they migrated from the South. It was a great migration period after slavery because the South was just so abusive that we fled north and west everywhere, just to get away from the South because slavery was much more prevalent in the South. So after slavery ended, those people were more enraged because it benefited them more, and they were so angry with Black people being free to live their lives uh, without being they're treated like they're animals. And so they were pretty angry. So, they were lynching Black people at will and doing all kinds of things to them. I mean, most of us know the history. So we fled, we migrated to the north and to the west. Not that everything was so better when we got there. We still had the same issues, but it was not on. It was not as prevalent. It had got somewhat better. Well, I'd say now this time let's migrate over to the motherland and let's migrate over to the motherland. No, it's not going to be perfect. You're going to have people going to try to run scams on you and different things like that. Try to price gouge you, but that's right there is minute to what goes on here. Your life is being taken here. So I could deal with the scams. I could deal with, you trying to charge me more money and different things like that.